International Women's Day, also called International Working Women's Day, is celebrated on March 8 every year. In different regions, the focus of the celebrations ranges from general celebration of respect, appreciation and love towards women to a celebration for women's economic, political, and social achievements. Started as a socialist political event, the holiday blended in the culture of many countries, primarily in Europe, including Russia. In some regions, the day lost its political flavor. The political and human rights theme designated by the United Nations runs strong, and political and social awareness of the struggles of women worldwide are brought out and examined in a hopeful manner. Women's rights are the rights and entitlements claimed for women and girls of many societies worldwide. In some places, these rights are institutionalized or supported by law, local custom, and behavior, whereas in others they may be ignored or suppressed. They differ from broader notions of human rights through claims of an inherent historical and traditional bias against the exercise of rights by women and girls in favor of men and boys. Issues commonly associated with notions of women's rights include, though are not limited to, the right to bodily integrity and autonomy, to vote, suffrage, to hold public office, to work, to fair wages or equal pay, to own property, to education, to serve in the military or be conscripted, to enter into legal contracts, and to have marital or parental rights. Here are few organizations which support and fight for women's rights. The National Organization for Women is the largest organization of feminist activists in the United States. NOW has hundreds of thousands of contributing members and more than 500 local and campus affiliates in 50 Albanian-like states and the District of Columbia. Since our founding in 1966, NOW's goal has been to take action to bring about equality for all women. Both the actions NOW takes and its position on the issues are principled, uncompromising and often ahead of their time. NOW is a leader, not a follower, of public opinion. The National Commission for Women was set up as statutory body in January 1992 under the National Commission for Women Act, 1990. Act No. 20 of 1990 of Government of India, to review the constitutional and legal safeguards for women, recommend remedial legislative measures, facilitate redressal of grievances and advise the government on all policy matters affecting women. Here's a video that shows empowerment of women in society over years. Here are few successful women in politics. Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi served India as the Prime Minister for 15 years. She paved the way for democracy in India until her assassination in 1984, is the second longest-serving Prime Minister of India and the only woman to hold the office. Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Hilda Thatcher was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1979 to 1990 and the leader of the Conservative Party from 1975 to 1990. Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel, the first political star from the former East Germany since reunification, Chancellor Merkel is also the backbone and an original architect of the 28-member European Union with a GDP of $15.8 trillion. Dilma Rousseff. Dilma Rousseff, one of the world's most powerful heads of state, Rousseff is more than halfway through her term as President of Brazil, the world's seventh-largest national economy with a GDP of nearly $2.4 trillion. Here are few effective women social activists. Malala Yousafzai. Malala Yousafzai is a Pakistani activist for female education and the youngest ever Nobel Prize laureate. She is known mainly for human rights advocacy for education and for women in her native Swat Valley and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, a province of northwest Pakistan. Carrie Chapman Catt. As president of the National American Women's Suffrage Association, Carrie Chapman Catt helped revitalize the suffrage movement and ratify the 19th Amendment in 1919, which guarantees all women the right to vote. Shami Chakrabarti. Shami Chakrabarti is the outspoken director of human rights organization Liberty. She has spent years tirelessly campaigning for civil rights and has led the way in discussions against arguments for ID cards, 42-day detention, torture, and imprisoning foreign terror suspects without trial. We doff our caps to her passion and drive. Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks is known as the First Lady of Civil Rights. Her arrest for refusing to give up her bus seat to a white passenger led to the game-changing Montgomery bus boycotts, an important moment for the U.S. civil rights movement. Kishida Toshiko. Kishida Toshiko is a writer, activist, and one of the first women in Japan to speak publicly about women's rights. She began lecturing when she was just 20 years old. She was well known for her speech Daughters Confined in Boxes that criticized a family system that confined women at home. Here are few women who changed the world of science and technology. Ada Lovelace. Ada Lovelace worked with Charles Babbage at the University of London on his plans for an analytic engine, that is old-timey computer, to develop ways to program the machine with mathematical algorithms, essentially making her the first computer programmer ever. Madame Curie. Madame Curie is the first woman to receive the Nobel Prize and the first person to win it for two separate categories. Her first award was for research into radioactivity, physics 1903. Her second Nobel Prize was for chemistry in 1911. A few years later she also helped develop the first X-ray machines. Dr. Shirley Jackson. The theoretical physicist Dr. Shirley Jackson was the first black woman to receive a PhD from MIT in 1973. While working at Bell Laboratories, she conducted breakthrough basic scientific research that enabled others to invent the portable fax, touch-tone telephone, solar cells, fiber optic cables, and the technology behind caller ID and call waiting. Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr's invention of a secret communications system during World War II for radio controlling torpedoes, employing frequency hopping technology, laid the technological foundations for everything from Wi-Fi to GPS. She also happened to be a world-famous film star. Marie Brown. Marie Van Britten-Brown's system for closed-circuit television security, patented in 1969, was intended to help people ensure their own security, as police were slow to respond to calls for help in her New York City neighborhood. Her invention forms the basis for modern CCTV systems used for home security and police work today. Stephanie Kwolek. The chemist Stephanie Kwolek invented the super-strong Kevlar fiber, used to make bulletproof vests. Kwolek's invention is 5 times stronger than steel, and also has about 200 other uses. Dr. Grace Murray Hopper. Dr. Grace Murray Hopper, a Rear Admiral in the U.S. Navy, was also a computer scientist who invented COBOL, the first user-friendly business computer software program. She was also the first person to use the term bug to describe a glitch in a computer system, after finding an actual moth causing trouble in her computer. Rosalind Franklin. British chemist and X-ray crystallographer Rosalind Franklin's research played key role in revealing the structure of DNA. Her X-ray photographs of the double helix were used by scientists Francis Crick, James Watson, and Maurice Wilkins, who in 1962 were jointly awarded a Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for their work on the DNA model. Here are few inspirational women. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa established the Missionaries of Charity, a Roman Catholic religious congregation, in 1950. These sisters ran hospices and homes for people with HIV/AIDS, leprosy and tuberculosis at a time when such people were treated as outcasts by most of society. Billie Jean King. Billie Jean King, the U.S. tennis legend and the winner of 20 Wimbledon titles, famously beat Bobby Riggs in 1973 for a $100,000 prize in the Battle of the Sexes after he said to her that men were superior athletes. Princess Diana. Princess Diana was a well-loved people's princess. She devoted her life to charity work. She led a Nobel Peace Prize-winning campaign to ban landmines. Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart was the first woman to ever fly solo across the Atlantic in 1932, and she became the first woman pilot in 1935, after flying solo from Hawaii to California. Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen is the first woman to head the most influential central bank in the world, given the size of the Fed's balance sheet, $4 trillion, relative to the U.S. GDP, $16.7 trillion. Christine Lagarde. Managing Director of International Monetary Fund of France. The first woman to run the 188-country financial organization, has spent much of her first 3 years in crisis mode, most recently dealing with escalating tensions in Ukraine and approving a $17 billion loan for the country in April. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah, a generous philanthropist, who is today worth $2.7 billion as a famous U.S. talk show host and a media proprietor, was born to a poor single mother in Mississippi. Melinda Gates. Melinda Gates has cemented her dominance in philanthropy and global development to the tune of $3.4 billion in giving 2012 and more than $26 billion in grant commitments since she founded the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with her husband in 1998.